All right. Hello, everyone. I want to give you a quick demo of some of the things that we can do here in Ruby. I'm logged in here into Codio and into the sandbox. I'm logged in as a test student. So I get the same view as you would have in here. So let's say I wanted to do some work. One thing to note is you should always be doing all of your work inside of this workspace directory. Um, while this is your home directory contains the workspace directory, and you should only work within the workspace directory because this is a special area where if I have to change or update an assignment, your work inside of the workspace directory won't get touched. But everything outside of the workspace directory can get replaced and wiped out if I have to update an assignment mid-assignment for everyone. So always work within the workspace directory. Okay, anyway, so let's make a directory. Let's name my directory hello. I'm going to change directory into hello. And we can go ahead and make a file. So I'm going to make a hello.rb file, or let's call it hello world.rb. Okay. So I touch it, it's created. If I look over here in my file tree, you'll see that it exists. By the way, sometimes the file tree seems not to be properly synced. And so if you need to resync it, you can come down here and say resync file tree. Anyway, I can click on the file if I want to edit it in the Ruby IDE. It opens it up. Now, I really like for myself to, I have a nice monitor. It's large enough, so I like to split it into two panels, drag my file I want to edit over here, and then I can have a terminal on the left-hand side, which I like. And so, yeah, let's quickly do the classic hello world. Great. Then we should actually see that Codio has already saved the file, so I could cat it over here to view it. It has. I can run it. By the way, I don't like to type much. So I type usually a couple letters of the file name, and then I hit tab, and it does file name completion for me. So type Ruby, the name of the file. Ruby will then run the code inside that file. Woohoo! It worked. Hello world. It successfully did that. By the way, just compare how easy this is to getting hello world in Java. This is the sort of thing I like. So let's come over here. We can say goodbye as well. All right. Ruby hello world. Oops, it only says good. Doesn't say goodbye. Let me put it there. Does it work now? No, it still didn't do the whole thing. Seems to be at least a small bug in Ruby. Not in Ruby, in Codio. It doesn't seem to always be saving the way it should be. So what if I go and do file? I'll just do save all files. Will that make sure everything is saved? No, doesn't. Well, that is entirely frustrating. If I close it, will it doggone save the thing? Yeah, now it saved it. Well, that's pretty useless. I'm going to talk with the people at Codio, see if they can fix this bug. It drives me crazy. So if you ever run into that, yeah, apparently save all files doesn't seem to do it. Codio should be always saving your files for you automatically. But if you ever run into something weird, it might be that we're running into this bug where Codio doesn't actually save things properly. I'm going to show you another example of what you can do to get around that, because that's just too frustrating. So I can go and I'll start another terminal. All right. And gonna go into my hello directory. And there's a really nice editor called Nano that you can use. And Nano actually edits in the terminal window here. It will not automatically save things for you. So to actually get things saved for you with Nano, you do Control S, and you'll see when I just did it, and it said it wrote 7 lines. So the nice thing is you can do stuff, hit Control S, and it'll write it out, which works really nice. When you want to leave the editor, as you can see, sort of the instructions down here, you can do Control X. All right, so if in doubt, you can always pull open the Nano editor and use it. All right, so I run it now. It certainly should work. By the way, you notice it looks like I typed that really fast. I didn't. What I do is I use the arrow keys. So this is the up arrow key to go and pull up the previous one. You can use up and down arrow keys to go through your past history of commands. So I can just do that and run it. And so I really like to have this setup where I'm going back and forth between this world of where I have some code and a terminal where I'm running that code. One thing I mentioned is that you can very easily use your debugger by doing a require byebug. Okay. By the way, again, this isn't going to be automatically saved when I'm using Nano. So it's not, here I cat to see it. It's not been saved. I come over here, do Control S. It says it wrote 9 lines and it's been saved. Anyway, I could run it now. It shouldn't actually change anything, but it should work. It still works, so that's great. So as I said in the lecture, we can just write byebug anywhere where we want a breakpoint. I save that, come over here, I run it. And what happens is it runs and then boom, it hits byebug and puts me into the byebug system. And so I can see what happens there. I can do commands. I bet if I type H, it'll give me help. Yeah, it gives me all sorts of commands that I can do. There is, you just do something like byebug cheat sheet, and there's probably a pretty good one here. And so, you go down here and you get all the sort of things that you can do to control byebug. There's also, this isn't the official manual page, but this is sort of a nice quick reference for using it. So there's lots of things. Just turn to the web when it comes time for that. Anyway, back to here. I actually don't have anything to do. I can go to the next line. So I can do N for next, or I can type the word next. And it ran the next one, which was goodbye, which was the end of the program. And so now I'm done and I'm back to the command prompt. So that's pretty handy. One of the things that we could do, imagine, is we could go ahead and we could make ourselves, some sort of world where, I'm going to have an array. So, I could say I've got some array of values, 1, 10, 2, 6. Okay, and then I want to go through and output those. So I could write a while loop, I is 0 while I is less than values dot length, and I could go ahead and put. And I could say I'm going to put out, values of I. I can end my loop. I need to also increment my I is equal to I plus 1. Great. I'm going to save this file. I could come over here And I could run it. Seems to work. Just to show you about byebug again. So if I say I had a problem and I needed to debug this thing, I could put byebug in there, come over here, run this guy, and you see it stops me right there. It hasn't executed the line 6 yet. That still needs to happen. So if I was, for example, to try to print out the values, it's nothing. So I do next. It does the next line. Now, actually, I can just type the word values and it'll show me what it is. And I see, ooh, it's an array filled with 1, 10, 2, and 6. That's pretty cool. By the way, I can absolutely modify things within the debugger if I wanted to experiment it with it. So I could take value 0 and set that to 99. Now, if I type values, you'll see that I've actually changed the data. So that you can literally play with your program and modify it as you're using it to test out different things. Anyways, so I could continue. If I want to see, if I forget where I am in the program, I can type list and it shows me that I'm on line 8, where I'm about to set I to 0 and go through this loop. And so I can just keep typing N to do the next line. And as it runs, you can see that, in fact, we're getting values printed out to the screen. Here's the 2. It happens so fast it's hard to see, but the 2 is printed out. Again, if I want to know what values is, I can just look at it. If I want to know what I is, I is a command, so I can do PI for print I. It also, I is 2, but the value of calling print on I is 2, so we see 2 come out twice. It's a little weird. So, all right. That's pretty cool. If I just want to run the program to the end, I can type C, which is short for continue, and it runs to the end and it's done and it's over. So that's byebug. It's a really handy tool. I highly suggest you get to know it. Now, and that's the nano editor. I suggest you get to know it too. Control X to exit it. So yeah, if you ever run into problems with Codio not really properly saving your files, like I was just experiencing, go ahead and use Nano. It's your friend. One last thing here to quickly show you is this IRB, so interactive Ruby. So you just type IRB, and now you're in this system, and you can use Ruby. So, you know, if you're wondering what is 1 divided by 2, it's 0. Yeah, it does integer division. What's 1.0 divided by 2? It's 0.5, and so forth. So you've got all this sort of stuff. You can go ahead, I could make an array, you know, 1 and 2. So A is this array 1 and 2. You know, there's all sorts of stuff built into Ruby. So, but I can, you know, ask for what's the length of the array. It's length 2. You can do things like, you know, everything in Ruby has, they're all objects, and you can actually ask to see what all the methods are on all the objects. So if you do this, you get to see these are all the possible methods that we could call on an array. Actually, I could sort them. You know, see all sorts of stuff. Anyway, in Codio, to scroll up, you notice there's no scroll bars. So you use Shift and page up and page down. So you hold the Shift key down and you page up and page down to scroll in Codio without the scroll bars. You know, a reverse. I bet there's a reverse method on arrays. And it does. And by the way, then you could actually type A again and you'll see that A doesn't change. And so this is where we learn some things about the way Ruby works. So most of these methods that we have on objects and like arrays and stuff don't actually change the object itself, but they do an operation, they make a copy of it and do the operation on the copy and then return the copy. So you got to keep those things in mind. But this is a great way to be able to test something out really quickly. You know, so let's say I want to, you know, I'm going to make a function in a file, nano h.rb, you know, I'm going to be a hi.rb instead of hello. And def hi. And this method is really simple. It puts out the string hi. It's sort of a modern world. Save it. I can come over here into IRB, by the way, and I can load hi.rb. So I can load this file in, and it properly reads it in. It returns true. And now I can run the method hi, and it ran. Woohoo! And it actually returns the value. It prints out hi and then returns the value nil. All methods, all functions in Ruby return a value no matter what, even if you don't explicitly return something. Okay, so you get to do stuff like that. So I could have actually a more complex thing in here, you know, which would be def change. I don't know what we're going to do this, but I'm going to say that I'm going to pass in some values and values there is always going to be changed to equal values of 0 plus 1. Okay, save that guy. I need to come and I need to load this guy up again. I could make an array here. A is equal to 1, 5. And then I could call change on A. And if I type A, you'll see I actually changed it from 1 to 2. I could call it again. Changes to 3. Pretty cool, I tell you. You'll also note that the method here is returning this value, 2, 3. What it's doing is it's returning the very last value that was the result of this last statement. There's only one statement here, that the value of this statement is the value at value 0. And so that's actually what gets returned as the value for the function in Ruby. So this is really nice because you can write code, you can load it in IRB and run it and experiment and play out and see if it's actually doing and working the way you want it to. So besides just being able to write code in IRB, we can use this a way to reach in and play with our programs. All right, so those are the two things I really wanted to show you that you could do in Ruby. Use the byebug debugger, use IRB, and by the way, also here's the nano editor, which can be handy at times to be able to know how to use. And we have instructions in Learn. There's a page that tells you about that. All right, everyone. I'm going to wish you well and end things now.